Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to my platform. Good evening, good evening. I want to welcome everyone. I just want to come on here and just, remind some people about how God has brought us out from difficult trials and situations in my life and also in you guys' life. And I was reminded today, oh wow, somebody had inboxed me and they said, "Do you remember when you you taught on this message or you preached on this message about dry bones?" And it had to remind me, God had to remind me, in spite of what we're going through, you know, that these dry bones can live. These dry bones can take whatever the enemy attempts to issue out. I said attempt to issue out. And when I saw the text message, I went to laugh and I said, yes, I remember when I taught on that message, can these dry bones live? And she said, you know what? From time to time, I think about that message that you taught on. It was years ago, and the reason why I'm smiling because you never know how one message can impact a person, and it reminds them from time to time about what somebody else had either taught on, preached on, or whatever. And I thought about it, and God sent her to me to remind me that these dry bones can live. Whatever we're facing today, it's just a test that these dry bones can live. And I thanked her for reminding me that these dry bones can live no matter what I'm facing on today. That these dry bones can live. So I thank God for the reminder. I thank God that, when I face trials and situations that it appears like the enemy is winning, God always send a message to you, to you, to let you know that you're still winning. No matter how it looks, no matter what the enemy has set up, you're still winning. You're still on the winning team. You're still on the winning side. So God can send someone to remind you of the things that you have done in the past. Those little nuggets and those little seeds, those good nuggets that you have dropped along the way. God had to send someone to remind you you're still a blessing to someone, including yourself. And as I pondered over that, and I always talk about love, I always talk about past regrets and letting them go. And I thought about the message on tonight about, do we really love ourselves? Because if we really love ourselves and we say that we love others, then we're going to treat others like we treat ourselves. And to back it up, that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, and whosoever believe in him should not perish but have everlasting life. So if we say that we love ourselves, then if we love ourselves, we got to love others and treat them good like we treat ourselves. And put ourselves up as a ransom, because God had put his son Jesus Christ up for a ransom for us, because he loved us that much and he was willing to sacrifice and give his son up. So what are we willing to sacrifice today? And what are we willing to let go and give up for somebody else? What are we willing to do for that person? Are we willing to sacrifice our life and take that person's place and let that person's place take ours if they was held up hostage? Instead of you saying, oh, I see you later, farewell, girl, I'm praying for you. Say, now let her go and take me. I am the ransom. I would give my life up for her. I would sacrifice my life for her. And some people probably will do that, because they will look at it. I done lived my life. This is a young person. Their life is just beginning. So I would take the place. But how many of you guys really are willing to take the place of someone else? Really and truly. So I want to just remind you of some things, because people will not forgive themselves sometimes. They will carry regrets in their heart for years, punishing themselves about their past sins, about the mistakes that they have made growing up, things that you have done in the past and just won't let it go. It continues to remind you. It continues to come back to you and haunt you. And you have no peace in your soul. God Almighty, you have no peace. And it constantly reminds you those past regrets, those sins that you have done throughout the years. But don't you know that God has paid a ransom for you? Don't you know that God has forgiven you? So why you haven't forgiven yourself? Why you haven't forgiven yourself? You continue to hold on. And you may say, well, I'll let go today, but I'll pick it up again tomorrow. I may let it go for a little while, but it comes back in my mind to haunt me. And I always talk about the strongholds, the mindset that we entertain, the mindset that we won't let go. The mindset is so hard to change when we're not willing to let it go and we're not willing to change. Those are called strongholds. Something that you have and you just won't let go, and you wrestle with it all night long. Remember Jacob, how he wrestled with himself in the break of dawn. He wanted to let it go. So those are strongholds that we have to break. And they are not going to be easy, but we have to break it. And this song that, I'm getting ready to play. Let me see. I think I have to start it over. But I want you to constantly, it's on a commercial now. I want you to constantly listen to the song and remind yourself how you have holding on to things that you're not letting go. And I don't have the rights to this song, but this is for somebody. It's an old 100. How God's gonna do it. If he did, we wouldn't need him. See, I have to remind myself that he's gonna do it again. I don't know how and don't know when. Do it, Lord. Just think about why are you holding on to that? Give it to God and he will fix it. Yes. How about the victory? How about the victory? How about the victory? Look on the good side. The victorious side. Be victorious. How about the victory in our life instead of dwelling on past regrets? On past regrets, there was times in my life that I beat myself up and I carried and I drug that stuff around for so long that it depressed me, it weighted me down. I had low self-esteem because it was unhealthy what I was dragging around in my spirit. And see, that's what the enemy will do to us if we allow him to beat us down, to make us feel like we are nothing. And when we are listening to him, then that's his job, that's his duty to make us feel like we're nothing, that we're useless. That's his job. But God's job, he tells us that he comes to give us life and life more abundantly. See, the awesome thing about God, God is love. In whose report are we going to believe? I choose to believe the report of the Lord. You see, I have done that. I've been drugged down, beat down, talked about, lied on, spit on, accused, you name it. But one day, I decided to get up because I was so tired of being knocked down, dragged out, talked about, lied on, misused and cheated and abused. And the list goes on and on and on. But one day, I decided to get up and let these dry bones live. I began to speak life into these dry bones and told these dry bones to myself. I told myself, come alive, because God has given us the power and authority to speak those things as though they were. And when I learned who I was in Christ Jesus, I began to speak those things into existence. And some people would think that you're crazy when you're saying things that God have said to you. You let them think whatever they want to think. You let them say whatever they want to say. Continue to treat yourself good. Continue to love yourself as you want others to love you. And Ephesians often says to us, Ephesians 5, I believe, to walk in love as Christ loved us and given himself as a ransom. You see, so if we continue to remind ourselves daily of God's words and God's promises to us, these are the benefits that we have when we are in Christ Jesus. Do you really love yourself? Do you really love others as you say? Because we can have this lip service and say, yes, I love this person. But when it comes down, like my grandmother used to say, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, can you really see the proof in the pudding? Now that's my daddy. The proof is in the pudding. Or the proof is in the milk. So I have to be real, because now this everything that I'm saying is real, but seriously, if you continue to beat yourself down and allow other people to beat yourself down, then you will continue to be depressed. You will continue to retaliate. You will continue to let them speak negative things into your spirit. You will continue to let them contaminate your spirit. But the choice is up to you. And every day I examine myself to see, am I really loving the way that God have ordered us or command us to love one another. And I'm so honored that God have really put this in my spirit about loving others and treating others right and examining ourselves daily with the word of God, with the word of truth. Because one thing, I don't want no blood on my hands, you know. And it's not to prove to anyone, because I owe no one no explanation, but I do owe God my life. You know, I owe God everything because he have been that good to me. You know, I could have been dead a long time ago. And I used to beat myself up about past sins, things that I had did in the past, regrets of things that I said and I done, and regret of not doing the right thing as an individual, until I learned to let it go, until I learned and came into the knowledge of God, that God have paid all of my sin and all of my debt. He has forgiven me. So when I learned that I am free in him, you know, I let go. I let go. And the enemy will fight you harder when he knows that you are on the winning side. He will try to distract you when he knows that you're on the winning side. He will try to discombobulate your mind, making you forget things. He will try to discombobulate your relationships, bring into confusion. Any little tactic he finds to do, he will do it. And that's why it's so important to me these days to love until I can't love no more. I don't care if someone have hurt me, which I have gotten hurting so many times in life. But the most important thing is letting it go and forgive those who have hurt you and give it to God. And the reason why I'm pausing right here, because I want to put this in a respectful way, not in a negative way, but a respectful way. It wasn't too long ago that I trusted this person. And this person came to me and they needed my help. So I trusted them to keep their bond, to keep their word. They did not. Okay? So when I rendered the services, the debt was never paid. Okay? And it wasn't no small money. This is big money, you know, almost $1,000. So I kept calling this person. Never did return my call. I began to text this person because they kept making promises, broken promises. So they finally cut my messages off. They never did return my calls. It would go straight to voicemail. So I was like, God, this person let me down. I say, I really trusted this person. And we had a rapport. We had built a rapport, at least I thought. And I said, I have really trusted this person, you know. But, you know, the person wasn't responding in no kind of way, no phone call, no text. So I reached out to the person that was, I guess, the next, next in charge or whatever. But I explained, and so that person, said, okay, I will reach out and talk to the person, see if I can get them to satisfy their debt with you. I said, okay. So the phone call was, hey, I'm gonna, do this, where, I'm having a hard time, blase, and a little sob, sad story. And, I just like, I'm fed up. We all go through things, and we all, go through things in life, but we somehow figured out to pay our debts. If we have to set up a payment plan, if we have to let some things go and take care of our debts. So the promises was like, I just don't, I've been through this and I've been through that, and I'm barely, and I was like, okay, all right. So are you the first one that been through something like that? That's part of life, baby. But we have to figure out a plan. So once I said what I had said, then the Lord came to me, in spirit and mind and truth. He came to me and he said, didn't I give up my son for you? And you get mad at this person because this person did not pay you? I gave up the only begotten son that I have. I gave him up for you. And you gonna have an attitude? And I was like, oh Lord, forgive me. Forgive me for not trusting you, because I know you always make a way for me. So I had to make it up. I had to make things right. So I inboxed this person. I say, you know what? Forget about the debt. Count it as a blessing. I said, you don't even have to satisfy that debt. That debt is already paid, so you count it as a blessing, because I'm going to move on to get my blessing. And what you was going to pay me was nothing, but what God has got for me, when I forgive you, it's more than enough. It's an overflow blessing. I say, so you keep that. I don't need it, because I know greater is coming my way. So the person never did respond. I don't know if they just blocked me all the way, but I did put it in there just to clear up everything. And I said, Lord, I thank you. I praise you. See, sometimes that's what we have to do when we're so broken and we're going through things in life. And I say, Lord, I praise you. And you know what? God has made a way. I want to thank those who have been following me, who have subscribed to my YouTube channel, who have donated to my channel, who have sent me funds and donations. Thank you. Thank you. I want to thank you. See, when I gave it up, God just started blessing. People started inboxing me. People started giving me gifts, started blessing me with funds. I tell you, when you have a clean slate, and I thought that was the hardest thing for me to do, is let this particular person go away debt free. And I said, you know what? It was almost $1,000. That wasn't nothing. That wasn't nothing compared to the blessing that God has given me. When I decided, He gave us a choice. When I decided, hey, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to count it as a blessing. I'm going to count her as a blessing. I'm going to count this as a stepping stone, a learning tool. And that's what I did. So I don't know who this is for, but let it be life lessons. And I come into contact, I'm so grateful that I come into contact with so many people every day. And God is changing me right before their eyes. And you know, I'm going to tell another true story about me. See, we never know how big of an impact that we're making on folks' life. I just told you about one woman of God inboxed me talking about the message that I had preached years ago, Can These Dry Bones Live? So the other day I was reminiscing with some co-workers of mine and some people that I had been knowing for about 20 years or over, a little bit over 20 years. And at that particular time, I did not know the impact that I had made on them. And I was preparing myself to walk into this place and let go and let God. And one awesome thing that happened that day, as I walked in, I got applauded. Oh, she's back. She's back. Oh, we're so good to see you. I remember this. I remember that. Even the people that I didn't know, they said, we have heard so much about you. And I said, well, I hope it was good things. They said it was. Oh, I mean, I thought I was a celebrity that day. Everything was good. And the way that you carry yourself, the way that you present yourself, the way that you treat people, you never know who is watching you. And the impact that you make on them, the marks and the scars, and I'm talking about good scars and marks, the stains that you leave behind, the good stains, you know, the good nuggets, the good seeds that you leave behind, people will never forget that. If they have a pure and true heart, they will appreciate you. And the nuggets and the suggestions and the things that you left behind to improve them and to make them grow, they'll always come back and thank you. They may not thank you then, but they will thank you. And I was like, wow, God, oh my God. I was just like, Oh my God. I didn't know the impact that I had made on so many people. I didn't know that until recently. And that was 20 some years ago. And I'm like, my heart was so honored and flattered. It was a privilege to be in the presence of so much love. And they was like, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? I say, when do y'all want to have me back? Because when you are in the presence of good people, good vibe, good spirits, God-fearing people, you just want to bask in their presence. You just want to be with them as much as you can. And one thing I have learned on this journey is that God will separate the wheat from the tare. We don't even have to do it. You know? And I see a lot of things these days. But as I get older, as I get mature, I say, God, you do it. God, you fix it. You see that, God? You hear that, God? God, you are all knowing. And I know that you're working it out on my behalf. See, it's just the small little things that we won't let go that can keep us stagnated. The small little things when people lie on you and talk about you. The small little things that try to set you back when you have put your trust in someone and they let you down. See, just like I've given you these examples about the person who I had trust and they let me down. And that's not the first one and it won't be the last one. I already know that. You see? I already know that. But it's just the little things that can keep us stagnated and held back until we let it go. That's why I say let go, let God have his way. See, when we move out the way, anything can happen. When we move out the way, anything is possible. But when we are in the way and trying to fix it, that's when everything messes up. We mess things up. So anyway, I am so excited. I'm excited about what God is doing in my life. Because there was a time in my life that I was shamed. There was a time in my life that I was afraid to speak up and speak out. There was a time in my life that I was afraid to help people. I couldn't trust people. I didn't want to be around people. I just wanted to shut my door and stay in my little shell. But God said, no, I have appointed you and anointed you. I have ordained you to go out and compel every man, woman, child, and girl in the earth. And you're going to do it. You're going to do it. So I had to break out that shell, really. I really did. So, thank y'all on Zoom. I almost forgot y'all. We had a wonderful time on Zoom. Whoop, 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 whoop. Thank y'all for participating in the rap session that we had, the real talk. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for the donations. Where would I be if the Lord wasn't on my side? But I thank y'all. Everything that I dreamed about, It is happening. One last thing. Somebody said, I was watching on YouTube, and she used to be as a little girl, she would say, you know, she would go around and she would tell people, one day I'm going to be an actress, one day I'm an actress, one day I'm going to be on Broadway. She said, y'all going to see my name up there, and I'm going to be on the stage, and this and that. They laughed at her, they laughed at her, and they laughed at her, and they thought it was going to never happen. She said, but when she turned 50 years old, see, that's why I know it's not in our time, and it's in God's time. She said, when she turned 50 years old, she got this phone call to do a play on Broadway in New York. She went to New York. And she said all of them years that she was telling people, she used to dream about it. And she said one day her dream came true. She was standing up there taking a bow. And as she closed her eyes and lifted her eyes back opening up, it was reality, baby. Woo. That right there gave me encouragement to keep on keeping on. It might not happen when I want it to happen, but it will happen. 50 years she waited. 50 years she continued to say the things that she was going to do. And it came to pass, but not in her time and in God's time. She said it was 50 years. That one chance can change your life. That one moment can turn things around. Wow. It can turn it around. So, thank y'all once again. My heart really goes out. And YouTube has been sending me messages about my YouTube channel is doing so great. I appreciate everything. Y'all keep giving me a thumbs up. Keep commenting on it. Thank you, sister cousin. I really appreciate you. You know who you are. Thank you guys for subscribing. All of my subscribers, YouTube subscribers, thank you guys for following me on Facebook and all the social media. Thank you. Thank you for all of my the people who have donated. You know, my heart goes out to y'all. Thank y'all so much. And have a good night. All right. Bye-bye.